Kia ora, this is the last of the LEGO DC sets that I currently have access to, but I made sure to make time for this one because this might still be my favourite LEGO DC set of all time. This is the Brainiac Attack set from the LEGO DC Superheroes line released in 2015. If you're a follower of this channel, then you may know how much I love the DC and Batman line of LEGO. I'm also a public hater, but that's only because I'm so passionate. It was in 2014 that we saw the release of LEGO Batman sets that began to feature Justice League members as special appearance guest stars. The Bat family began expanding and the roster added a special Flash, there was Plastic Man, and a TV version of Martian Manhunter. By this point in time we had more LEGO Batman games released as well, with the second game being a Batman and Superman team-up title, and the third game was genuinely a secret Justice League game that included none other than Brainiac as the central villain. So, cut to 2015, and now the LEGO DC Superheroes line has given us more at play other than just Batman-based sets. Batman did still release in 5 of those 7 mainline sets, but this time it was he who was the guest star. One of those sets that released was this one, Brainiac Attack, which released at a time when I was no longer interested as much in collecting LEGO, but this was an offer I simply couldn't refuse. I bought the set during my first ever visit to a LEGOLAND, so I've always had a special place for it in my heart. The set overview here is Brainiac and his skull ship, as well as the inclusions of Supergirl, Superman, and Martian Manhunter who are here to try and stop him. The set was only $50 back in the day, now it's worth $130 sealed. That's not great, but when you consider how long ago the set released and how many times we've seen these figures since, 0, the answer is 0 times technically, then it's not that bad. Here's the skull ship. Seems like most of my favorite LEGO DC sets are based around a villain and their main mode of transport. The ship actually has a really unique silhouette for a LEGO set, what with its tentacles and its skull resemblance. The set feels like an homage to the Alien Conquest line, so bonus points for that because alien invasions are always really cool. As far as build methods go, I really love it, but as far as play goes, it's very minimal. There's almost nothing here. It's a great display set, but it's a little tricky to talk about for say, 5 or so minutes. The skull's design is sold by this top section and the jaw part, which can separate away from the build. The rest of the build is actually molded into the overall design. Removing those features loses the look, so I wanted to show how impressive that design is. The tentacles are attached to the bottom of the ship and they feature their own little movements. It's a minimal design that works really well and it didn't need to be anything spectacular. The ship can actually manage to stand quite well on its own, which is really cool given that those tentacles were never designed to be used like this exactly. There is one main play feature here, and that is the flick fire missile that's located on the side here, complemented with some nice stickers on the base of the build. There's only one flick fire missile because on the other side we have this cannon which cannot interact with anything, but it does have that same tube piece from the Lex Luthor mech. You can freely detach this cannon from the ship. It's most likely included as a heroic act feature for the superheroes that are included in this set. The back features 2 engines that can spin, and with the added colour of that pink, it makes it stand out a little bit. I think it helps reaffirm that alien design. This cockpit opens up and reveals a standing Brainiac. He has a control switch with a sticker design and some moving levers. This is the Brainiac figure, who remained exclusive to the set. I predict we'll be seeing him in some of the movies over the next decade, so I expect this figure to start raising in his rarity, unfortunately. I love his expression and the pink complements on that green and black. He is a vanilla figure with no added extras or accessories. I feel like he was made a little bit more popular and mainstream with his Injustice inclusion, which would have been a really cool design to see on a figure, but that's also an R-rated game, so that's never gonna happen. He's really cool, and I like this exclusive character a lot. Onto the exclusive heroes, this is Superman, a character that I can never get tired of talking about. Not the first or the last time that we would see of him in LEGO, but this is actually an exclusive figure, believe it or not. He is practically identical to the 2012 figure, but he features that fabulous soft cape instead of the hard one, and his face print is also unique. The 2012 figure had an expression of a weird forced smile thing that was going on. This guy features those famous laser eyes that eventually made its way onto many Superman figures. Otherwise, for my money, I think he's the exact same figure. That headpiece would be used in some later sets. Those expressions are available on multiple different Superman figures, but it's nice to have a set focusing on a different poster child of DC other than the Bat. His expressions fit nicely with Supergirl, who is also an exclusive to the set. Supergirl has had 6 figures released in total, with a good variety from mini dolls to convention exclusives and even Mighty Micros, but this is the one time that the figure was included in a set. She borrows influences from both Superman and Wonder Woman, using a red skirt leg piece with some side printing. She has that soft cape as well, and she uses the same laser-eyed expression as Superman, a really neat inclusion. And this is Martian Manhunter, who was genuinely the reason I was sold on this purchase in 2015. He was my favourite character from the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited cartoons, and to this day has never reappeared in a LEGO set. He had a promotional figure released based on his appearance from the Supergirl TV show, which today actually goes for a cheaper price than this version from the set. His colors stand out the most. He's brighter in person than he is on camera, thankfully. He uses that soft cape and collar piece as well, and he has some back printing that continues his chest details. He is one of my all-time favorite minifigures, and he rounds out this set to being perfect. It's worth mentioning that this set released when LEGO were releasing these jumping pieces for figures. There's all sorts of reports that claim that these jumping parts would actually break your figures apparently. I never had issues like that with mine, other than that it was impossible to easily remove the figures once they were on, so I haven't even bothered to try and find it for this review. That's my look at the Brainiac Attack set from the LEGO DC Superheroes line in 2015. Build-wise, it's a really nice design and display set, but it doesn't feature a whole lot to interact with, and compared to that Luthor mech, there's a lot less to do. Having said that, it remains today the best inclusion of minifigures that I've ever seen in a LEGO DC set. Not only do we get one of the top villains for Superman, we also have him paired up with his famous cousin, and my personal favorite character from the TV shows that I loved as a kid. Makes this the perfect collection to add to a Justice League roster. If you enjoyed this retrospective look at an older LEGO superhero set, liking and subscribing does help support this channel's ventures into some more nostalgic reviews. Ka kite ana.